What's up, YouTube? Welcome or welcome back to the Saving Men's Lives Network, where all men and boys are welcome and our issues are treated with the respect that they deserve, where excellence is our goal, a place to remind you that you are loved, that you do have intrinsic value, and it suggests that you do yourself no harm. Here we go again, fellas. Facebook and Instagram, owned by Meta, has banned Andrew Tate from their platforms. Now, love him or hate him, the man has some pretty unique points on how men and women should interact with each other. This is not some guy screaming in the forest, some maniac running through the mall. This is a guy who's actually made something of himself, who's put the work in and become a somebody. And he understands how he wants to live his life and the rules the people who he allows within it are going to conduct themselves under. And somehow, some way, this was deemed too scary for Meta, for Facebook, for Instagram. And I got 3 reasons, at least my theories, as to why that is. Number 1, Facebook and Instagram are leftist organizations, okay? These are people who love the SJW style of information gathering, information dissemination. They do not like classic archetypes, if you will, of masculine and feminine. You already know we live in a society where we're literally having the nonsensical conversation, things along the lines of, what is a woman? A conversation which would have been laughed at best and got you smacked around at worst just 30 years ago. Certainly in the time of our grandparents when they were our ages. It was unheard of, unthinkable to even have that conversation. And here comes a man like Andrew Tate, a man who is unabashedly masculine, a man who exemplifies masculinity in spades. He understands the biological differences between men and women, and he understands the differences in our traditional classic gender roles, and he has no problem saying so. I can't fault him for that, because it's worked for tens of thousands of years, up until the early 1900s, for some reason. You know, places like Facebook and Instagram do a whole lot towards the candy assification of today's man. On one side, you got females who are reasonably attractive, add makeup, add the right poses, add the right lighting, add the right hair, whether they grew it or not. And now these somewhat average females look like top 10 dime models. And they got you hearting them and liking them and simping all over them. That's not good for a young man to do. It alters his perception of his value in the sexual marketplace. That's one. And number 2, if you say something they don't like, even if what you say can be backed up by empirical data, proving your point, they shut you down, they shadow ban you, they suppress your opinion and your viewpoints, or in Mr. Tate's case, they throw you off the platform altogether. Because your truth, which is backed up by the actual truth, conflicts with the lie. Number 2, so many women on Facebook and Instagram use the platforms to funnel traffic to their and I gotta edit myself for YouTube's algorithm, OnlyFans accounts and things of that nature. You know, Andrew Tate recently did a Twitch stream where he openly mocked the concept of e-sex and thus the simp economy. Example, Twitch. For those of you guys who know what Twitch is and watch Twitch, and maybe some of you guys are on it, they all but banned the word simp from their platform. Why? Because the highest paid Twitch streamers are all relatively attractive young women sitting in hot tubs with bikinis on, or they're wearing the lowest possible cut shirts or see-through shirts, what have you. And these guys, by and large, who occupy these spaces are guys who, at the mall or at the grocery store, really wouldn't have a whole lot of luck with the approach game with women. These are the kind of guys that get passed over for female attention. And so Twitch, which was once a predominantly male space, has now been, for lack of a better word, infiltrated by these attractive young women who understand this. They understand the SMV, especially in a space like that. And the guys just keep sending them money. They just keep sending them money. And they become multimillionaires as a result. I don't knock their hustle. They're using what they got while they got it. Okay, cool. That's fine. But a guy like Andrew Tate, he's like, listen, e-sex, okay, I mean, fine for a hobby, I guess. But if you want to be better with women, you got to get out there and physically do the work. You got to go out there and say hello in person. Because what can a computer screen really do for you except give you a dopamine blast, temporary, you're back to basics? It's crazy. But again, if you mess with the cash cow, if you kill the golden goose, where's the money going to come from? Guys like Andrew Tate are a problem for this because men who understand their value aren't sending their Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and other donations to these women who are never going to interact with them in person. It's too much money to be made by other men who understand what I just told you from guys who can't get laid. There's a lot of money in that. Because if these e-thots are making millions, then the guys above them must be making billions. And they do not want anything or anyone to interfere with that money-making process. Follow the dollars, gentlemen. Follow the dollars, you'll find the solution. Follow the dollars, you'll find the culprits. That's how it always works. But number 3 is the worst, in my opinion. Meta, aka Facebook and Instagram, is created by Mark Zuckerberg. And Andrew Tate is everything Mark Zuckerberg is not. Never underestimate the power of envy, gentlemen. Never underestimate the pettiness of little men who finally get their hands on the levers of power. Zuckerberg's a punk. A straight up Poindexter with soy milk flowing in his veins, who probably got his head stuck in toilets and shoved into lockers and beaten up for his lunch money back in high school and college. Now, he's an intelligent guy. I'll give credit where it's due. And he's presented and he's come out of nowhere effectively with a platform people are paying a lot of money to use. MySpace didn't take him seriously, and it cost him greatly. So I don't doubt the man's IQ. That's not where we're at right now. What I'm talking about is this is a grown man who's now worth billions of dollars, one of the wealthiest men in the world. So you would think that'd be enough for him. The problem is you never get rid of that skinny, nerdy kid who didn't get respect as a child. And he's now in a position where he can say who gets to say what viewpoints get to get seen, what political points that he doesn't like get to get squashed by his algorithms. And beyond that, he's a skinny kid all grown up, and now he's got the money, and now he's got the power. You see, Andrew Tate presents a real challenge for a guy like that because he's an archetype more than a man. He's handsome. He projects his voice in a masculine fashion. If you've ever heard Mark Zuckerberg speak, you know he cannot and will not do the same. The man can fight. He's self-made. And he makes no apologies for his masculinity. Mark Zuckerberg looks like he can't fight his way out of a wet paper bag that's already been cut 3 times to give him extra leeway. He'd be destroyed in a fist fight with Andrew Tate. He exudes bad boy energy. We all know women love the bad boys. I could go as far as, and again, we're just talking theory right now. I can go as far as to say Mark Zuckerberg's wife is the kind of woman who, yeah, he loves her. And he's giving her a great life being a billionaire, so he can buy her things and take her place. She probably couldn't take herself. But Andrew Tate is the kind of guy his wife would probably cheat on him with. And we already know, fellas, how this game works. When you can't compete, you cheat. That's the mantra. That's the rallying cry for the weak and ineffective in our society. They don't want to do the work. So they call in a favor. They call in political allies to make life more difficult for their competition. Or in this case, I don't like you because I could never be you. So you can't be on my platform. You're waking too many young men up. You're waking too many middle-aged men up. You're waking too many old men who've been wasting their life away with a wife they never should have married in the first place, and they're starting to understand what they've always had to contribute to our society. They're starting to get it. And when men start to get it, women get nervous. And the soy boys who love to pander to women get nervous. You're upsetting the apple cart. You're putting a fly in the ointment. You're creating a paradigm where young men, especially young men, because that's the future, you're creating a paradigm where young men are starting to understand that their dedication to the purpose God built them from scratch to perform is more important than drooling all over themselves over a computer screen. Of the hundreds of millions of young men who were exposed to Andrew Tate's message through Facebook and through Instagram, stop for a second to say, wait a minute, I've been doing this all wrong. You have any idea how much money out of the simp economy just vanished into thin air? Just like that? When OnlyFans models, what a freaking oxymoron that is. But when OnlyFans models stop getting donations, when Twitch thoughts stop getting donations, when girls in their neighborhoods and they go to their schools stop getting free attention and validation, and these guys redouble their efforts inward to build themselves up, to do what Andrew Tate does and go and get in the gym and work out through weight training or calisthenics, when they go and they learn how to defend themselves in a boxing class or take taekwondo or jiu-jitsu or what have you, when men start becoming the man they were always supposed to be, those who profit off of their ignorance are on red alert. I salute Mr. Tate. I don't agree with everything he's ever said. Sometimes he's a little out of control, even for me. But I am a First Amendment advocate. He lives in Romania, a largely, quote, patriarchal society where the men know who they are and the women know who they are, and the system works great because everybody's maintaining what they're supposed to be doing. He speaks from that perspective. And so I don't fault him for wanting to be involved with women who know, hey, if you want to be a boss bee, that's cool at your job. It doesn't work behind the confines of these house walls. And the women in his life understand that, and they play their position. We as men should demand more from the women who want our time, attention, and money. That's the overall message. You may not like the delivery. Mark Zuckerberg certainly doesn't, because he can't compete. So he had to cheat. If you can support Mr. Tate in any way you can by his online endeavors, maybe you want to watch some of his different things he's got going on, because he's got a lot happening. He's a very busy guy. But hopefully he'll find a way to make his own platform independent of those social media networks so people can tune in and see what he's got to say and watch him drive his luxury cars and fly his private jets and whatever else he's going to do as a very wealthy man can do. And I hope many other men emulate at least his economic example and strive for excellence, because money equals options and options equal freedom. That said, fellas, that's my time. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to be notified when I drop a new video, and share this content with a friend, with a family member, a coworker, a shipmate, one of your platoon mates, a next door neighbor, a teenage boy who you're real cool with. If you think he could benefit from what it is we discuss here, never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth will set him free. Till next time, fellas, it's the Saving Men's Lives Network. Plenty more to come.